If you are a structural engineer and you're not using NotebookLM, you're wasting hours every week. Today I'm going to show you the structural engineer's guide to NotebookLM. But we aren't using generic examples. We're going to build 5 specific tools together using real project files. The first one will be the software tutor to learn a new software. Number 2, the design process visualized to turn books and calculations into flowcharts. Number 3, the firm brain to automate your onboarding and mentorship. Number 4, the forensic detective to analyze your reports. And number 5, the journal of mistakes to make sure you never make the same mistakes twice. So let's get started. If you're new to NotebookLM, here's the 30 seconds breakdown on how it works. Think of it as a 3-step engine. So step number 1 on the left is the input. You consolidate all your sources in one place. You dump in your PDFs, Google Drive files, websites, audio files, YouTube videos into the funnel. And then in step number 2, which is in the middle, is the processing. This is where you chat with your documents. So the AI gives you answers grounded strictly in your sources with specific citations to prevent errors. You can even use it to scour the web for credible sources. And then step number 3 on the right hand side is the output. It transforms that raw information into insight and action. So you can generate instant study tools like quizzes, you can create flashcards, comprehensive study guides, you can create podcasts, which is really cool, and you can visualize complex topics with mind maps. So it's basically a second brain that only knows what you teach it. And I think that's great because there's barely any hallucination. Now let's head to NotebookLM and build our first tool. And our first use case is the software tutor to learn a new software. We've all tried to read a 500-page finite element analysis manual or software user guide. It's impossible, it's tedious, but with NotebookLM, we can actually process YouTube videos. Nowadays, every software company has their own YouTube channel. So what we can do is to input their videos into NotebookLM. If you have a user guide, I think it's even better, but we're going to explore the videos tool today. So you're going to click on create new notebook, click on YouTube. Now go to your software YouTube channel and then copy the link of any specific video. Let's say this buckling analysis. So I'm gonna click share, copy, go back to NotebookLM, paste the link and put insert. And you can do that with a bunch of videos. You can just go and get, let's say, reinforced concrete beam design, share, copy, go back, add sources, YouTube, paste the link, click insert. I'm sure if you look that up, you can find a tool where you can just copy a bunch of videos all at once and paste it in NotebookLM. So now if you're stuck learning a new tool or a feature of the software, you can ask NotebookLM to guide you through. Let's say I want to run a buckling analysis. I'm going to deselect all the sources and I'm going to select only buckling analysis. And then I'm going to ask the question, how to run a buckling analysis step by step. If I had a massive list of videos here, I could have left all the videos selected and just ask the question, and NotebookLM will point me to the source, and then I can just go and watch that specific video if I want to. In this case, it's very obvious because there's a video called buckling analysis and it's a short video. But if it is a long tutorial video and it has many topics inside of it, it will help you streamline the process. I personally love the mind map feature. You can click on any topic inside of the mind map and it will open a chat about that specific topic. I'll show you the best use case for mind maps in the next example. You can also go to the Brazilian Engineer in Australia YouTube channel and then you can create a new notebook and paste the link of the video and start asking questions. Though I really recommend watching the videos because of the visuals and the better explanations, and that guy is very handsome and funny and humble. And subscribe to his channel. To be clear, NotebookLM doesn't watch the video pixels, it reads the transcript. So if the video has lots of visuals, you might miss something, but overall I think it's a great tool and you can upload several PDFs PDFs, books, standards into it and ask questions. Another pro tip, when you upload a massive document, the AI has to search a huge context window, which can lead to vague answers. So instead, I try to split huge documents by topics if I can. I know it might be a bit tedious, but if I have a structural engineering handbook about concrete design, steel design, geotechnical engineering, everything condensed in one PDF, I will definitely separate that book into different PDFs. Now let's move on to part 2, the design process visualized. Sometimes you don't need an answer, you need a workflow. Let's say you're designing a steel connection and you need to visualize the checks before you start. Let's go back to our main page and try, as an example, a website plate connection design check. On my left hand side, you can see that I've already uploaded a document about website plate connections. NotebookLM will provide an outline about that PDF, and then I'm gonna prompt provide a step-by-step calculation for a website plate connection. Not too much explanation, just simple, easy to follow steps. Now you can see that it generates a step-by-step calculation for a website plate connection. And then on the right hand side, I'm going to click on mind map, and it generates a mind map of the procedure. You can expand the topics, so you can just click on these arrows and it's going to open up more topics, and it's interactive. For example, if I click on weld capacity to supporting members, it expands to show me details I need to check on that specific topic. If for some reason you didn't like that mind map, you can come here and add notes, new notes, so you can write some things. So add the minimum loading requirements for a website plate connection to the flow chart. And then I'll probably title add to the flow chart. And I'm gonna click on convert to source. And now that my node is a source. And what I'm gonna do is generate a new mind map. And now you can see that it created a new mind map and it added the minimum loading requirements for that simple connection, which is minimum design shear force 40 kilonewtons or 0.15 times the member design shear capacity. It's not exactly what I was looking for. I really wanted them to add this information into the previous flow chart, but you can go back to your node, play around with it, try a new prompt until you get your ideal flow chart. It pretty much turns calculations, standards, books into a visual flow chart. I personally love this feature. You can use it to get step-by-step to get wing loads, connection design, footing design, and so many other things. I think looking at a flow chart makes it more interesting and easier to visualize the big picture. And let's be honest, sometimes books and standards have design checks scattered in different chapters, so you have to go back and forth to organize the calculations. So a flow chart will make your life much easier. Part number 3, the firm brain. Now let's talk about the biggest drain on a manager or senior engineer's time, which is onboarding and mentorship. So you hire a new team member, but they don't know your specific standards. They don't know how you file RFIs, how you write reports, the drafting standards, checklists. So they ask you 5 times a day. So here's the fix. I created a notebook called the Firm Brain. You can upload your standard operating procedures, your SOP, your drafting standards, any procedure of your company. Inside our Bang Lab community, we have checklists. So we have drafting, design, detailing, and inspection checklist. So I uploaded them in here. Now, when someone asks what are the main points to be checked in a suspended concrete slab inspection, I could have deselected all the source and selected only inspections checklist because that was a question specifically to the inspection checklist PDF, but the results are great anyway. So you have a list of the main points to be checked during a suspended concrete slab. So you've got the general support and propping checks, dimensions, cover and services, thickness of the slab and stairs, dimensions of the concrete beams, if there's adequate cover, side cover, construction joint locations, bottom reinforcement, size, spacing, check integrity reinforcement. Now you don't need to answer that question anymore. We're going to simply click on share and send this notebook to your graduate engineer or to your new team member. And now they're going to ask the AI, and it cites or internal SOPs, internal company's procedures, and then they get back to work without bothering you. It's pretty much like cloning yourself. Of course, I think you should talk to your mentees and show them some love, but when it comes to checklists and procedures, those things can be answered by AI. Part number 4 is what I call the forensic detective. You can do the exact same thing with your forensic reports. If you upload your past 50 reports, you can ask the AI to help you write a new one that matches your company's writing style. I personally use ChatGPT or Gemini to actually help me to write a report, but I find NotebookLM really good to find information about a previous report that could be relevant to my case. And again, you could share this file with your graduate engineer because most of the times you've already done a report with a case very similar to what your graduate is trying to figure out. If you'd like a video on how to use AI to help you write reports, let me know in the comments. But NotebookLM also has a feature called deep research. So in case you need more data apart from what you have in your sources, you can just click on deep research and then just write the topic that you would like NotebookLM to do a research on. So let's say, for example, what are all the possible causes of significant internal cracking and cornice separation in brick homes in Queensland? And then after a couple of minutes, you get a list of resources. And I find that most of the time, it's a pretty decent list of reliable resources. You can go through the list, deselect what you don't want, or import them all to your notebook. Now, part number 5 is what I call the journal of mistakes. This next workflow is my personal favorite. If you are a human being, you've probably made some mistakes along the way. And if you're smart, you've written them down in your journey of mistakes, or how I call it, lessons learned, because it's never a mistake if you've learned something from it. So let's say, for example, that you forgot to check punching shear on a slab, or you misread a wind load category. So in my case, every time I had another engineer reviewing my jobs and found some mistakes, I would write them down so I do not forget next time. You could type your lessons and create a note and then add that to your resources. Or you can do as I do, I write them down on my iPad, and then from time to time I upload the PDF into the notebook. Now that specific mistake is permanently part of the AI's brain. I also have a personal one, which is called journaling, and I use it for relationships, exercise, diet. Sometimes you eat a certain type of food that doesn't feel good, or maybe you get an allergic reaction, and a couple of months later, or maybe years, you can ask the AI, what type of foods should I avoid? So you can use it for things like that. It's just an example. And finally, there are a bunch of tools on the right hand side that you can play around with. It's pretty awesome. You can create a podcast, you can create a video, reports, flashcards, quizzes, infographics, slide decks, and you can customize those tools by clicking on the pencil and change whatever settings you want to in this window. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.